Best episode of Paradise yet. I stand by that. Y'all can go ahead and say if you agree or disagree in the comments, but I love it. We have a lot to get into. So much. Let's go. We finally get to see Xavier's wife. Finally. 6 episodes in. And she is amazing. She stole the show in this first scene that she has here. But let's talk about the details that stuck out to me. Have you seen my blue jacket? Very specific. Definitely going to come back at some point, especially because we saw another jacket at the end of this episode that seems to have significant importance. And what jacket I'm referring to is whatever jacket Presley saw here. This also looks blue, does it not? Also in this opening scene with Xavier and his wife, we see that Xavier has a little attitude. He's just being short with her.
Well, either you have a problem with my jacket or you have a problem with me.
I didn't say anything.
And after watching the whole episode, I feel like it's because he knows the world is going to end, but he can't tell his wife about it. And he's just really mad she's going to Atlanta and there's nothing he can do.
She then passed out one piece of cake to each student to show ideal global food security. Afterwards, she redistributed the cake to illustrate the current state of food inequity.
So obviously this just goes with the theme of everything happening in this show as far as the billionaires, running the world, having the power, all of that, especially in the underground city. They literally run everything. So that plays into the theme about that. But what's up with this idea of cake? Well, let's listen.
She had all children representing poor countries chanting at him to eat. He ate so much cake.
All right, okay.
So anytime in a story you hear basically let them eat cake, you're thinking Marie Antoinette, right? But what's wild about that is there's a gigantic theme in this show about everything being fake, everything being an illusion. Nothing's actually real, from the food they eat to honestly, obviously living in a dome underground that looks like reality, all of that. What's crazy about the quote, let them eat cake, that Marie Antoinette said, is there's actually no evidence that she ever said it. So they're referencing a fake quote, which goes with the theme of everything being fake. But what's interesting is the French Revolution gets brought up again. And we're going to get to that in a second.
Straight out of 1984. He's old school Cobra Kai.
1984 reference. For y'all that don't know, 1984, classic novel. The moral of that story is that surveillance is bad, okay? Everyone in that story is under constant surveillance with the government party that's in control at the time. But what's interesting about 1984 is the two main characters, Winston and Julia, they bond over opposing the people in power, right? And in that scenario, it kind of feels like these two people, Xavier and Dr. Gabriela, because Winston and Julia meet up in secret places, they fall in love. But what's interesting is at the end of that book, they get caught and they get tortured and essentially brainwashed into not liking each other. And so I wonder if that plot is going to play out between Xavier and Dr. Gabriela at all. But going back to this scene is about to foreshadow basically the whole entire episode.
Your daughter didn't just do a hell of a project. She pulled off the payback of a century.
And we see that Xavier, the thing he does all episode is payback.
You didn't need to make a scene. That's all I'm saying.
Well, sometimes making a scene is the only thing you need to do.
And obviously he took his wife's advice on that, because all he did at the end of this episode was make a scene, and it did all the damage necessary. And the idea of a scene also comes back as a theme in here, because a big part of this episode also has to do with Die Hard, which scenes from a movie, right? You remember how I said the French Revolution was going to come back and play? Listen to this.
I want you to walk me through the Versailles Protocol. Where do they take me if the shit hits the fan?
So that scene works double duty. One, thematically with Versailles, which was the capital of France until the French Revolution, right? Also, this plays into how Xavier knows later on the backup plan for protecting the billionaires and he uses it against them. It also shows that Xavier's about to lead this French Revolution. He's leading a revolution, right? And so the fact that this protocol is called Versailles plays into that. Something new I'm doing is I'm answering questions and talking about theories you all bring up in the comments and making a video about it and posting it on my Patreon. If you want to watch the first video I did in that series, you can check it out. The link's in the description. Now listen to what Dr. Gabriela is about to say.
It's quite the scene out there.
It's quite the scene out there. Theme coming back. And you know what else is about to make another appearance?
Screw a guy in the shower and he doesn't even tell you when he's going to topple the citywide status quo. Man, am I right? I picked you up off the floor, Samantha. You violated the privacy of my home.
Couple things here. Once again, 1984 surveillance theme coming back right there. But also, I gotta say, I think I was wrong. I was saying Dr. Gabriela had to be, working with Sinatra, but I don't think she is. Like, if anything, I think this episode made it where we see that Sinatra's she's kind of doing things alone. Like the billionaires even, they're not even all aware of what Sinatra knows and things like that. And I think that she's kind of just using everybody, and Dr. Gabriela is going to get fed up with her too. And so, yeah, I really thought she was just like way too close to Sinatra, and I thought she was going to be suspect, but I think I was wrong. But I mean, imagine you make all of this for Sinatra as far as picking all the people in here, and you find out she's playing you and she's surveilling you without you knowing. Like, come on, bro. That's some trust issues.
Strange out there, huh? The last time you were in, you barely touched your cheese fries. You want to try again?
Do y'all remember? I can't remember which episode it was when they first announced the cheese fries. I was like, what's up with these cheese fries? Why do they keep bringing them up? And she brought them up again. And remember, I said I had noticed Dr. Gabriela said they were good because the chemicals in them. What is up with these cheese fries, y'all? What's up with the cheese fries? I can't tell if they're doing it just to like world building and it's just going to kind of be like a running, not necessarily joke, but just like thing. Or if there's actually something to these cheese fries.
I thought I was gonna miss real meat more. I actually don't mind this plant-based stuff. Puts on a pretty convincing show.
Going back to the real versus fake, putting on a convincing show with the theme of scenes and movies, all that.
I can't stop thinking about how they used to catch the cows to butcher them.
Which that part is obviously important because it comes back right here.
I couldn't let her be one of them. Cattle down the chute.
Now, here's the thing, though. I don't think she like saved Sinatra out of loyalty. I think she's just battling something within herself where like she just, she does have a relationship with her, but there's something else more here. There's something else more here. The history part, I think, is what's important. I don't think she's saying she just has history, like she's connected. I think they like did something together or know something about each other, something like that, where she just couldn't give her up.
Two old women reading books. Then you look a little closer and you realize they're just passing time, covered by mosquito net, fooling themselves into thinking there's anything they can do to protect from the violence of nature.
Here's the thing. This obviously relates to building a paradise under the mountain, thinking that you can avoid the violence of nature. But what's interesting, I think it's this idea between Mother Nature and human nature. It seems like the violence that they can't escape is going to be one of human nature, not necessarily Mother Nature. What I find interesting about this is that humanity found protection in a mountain, but it's like in this fake mountain where the resistance is being created, which I find just to be just an amazing, like, just contradiction.
It does feel good to have it back, though. The weight, that recoil, brass flipping through the air.
Hear me out. This is the second time she's brought up the idea of missing the weight of a real gun. That's telling me at some point maybe someone's going to hand her a fake gun or something like that, and she's going to realize it. Or that weight in the real gun thing has to come back. You know what I'm saying? Everything always happens in threes. It already got brought up twice. It also reveals something interesting about her character because she has this fanaticism around guns. But then we see this.
I was so busy barking out orders, I never even really...
Like she has some level of PTSD there, but she still likes the gun. That's interesting. And also, like, what was that? Like, what happened when they were escaping? What happened there? Was there like civilians rushing out, like trying to get to the president because they're mad, or maybe they were trying to get on the plane themselves and like Xavier and her had to like all these innocent people? That would be crazy.
Have you ever been on a ride at Disneyland? When it breaks down, they turn on the lights, and then it is never the same for you again.
Once again, can't reveal what's behind the curtain, right? Like Wizard of Oz. Also, we see that Sinatra has started picking at her hair again. That's like her nervous tick or whatever. And it shows that she's just really stressed. And Dr. Gabriela is right. Like, she knew that people would freak out if it happened. Obviously, at the end of the episode, it does happen and people were freaking out.
Dr. Tarabi, get in!
Now, obviously, she feels responsible because she's the reason why all these people are there in the first place. But also, it seems like she was having some type of PTSD. Like maybe this mirrors her experience of what happened on the outside when everything went down. So she takes the weapon out of the pillow, the heart pillow, because she cold. She killed Billy, the person she loved. Also notice this hat in the background kind of looks like a Sinatra hat, which is interesting. And then the 45 on her shirt. I don't know what that symbolizes, but it's there for a reason. If y'all have any type of idea of what it could be numerology wise, leave that in the comments. Couple things. I told y'all the mixtapes are going to be important. There's definitely a code in there for the sun somewhere. Also, that song was called Knocking on Heaven's Door. And remember how I told you I thought Sinatra built this place in the image of what her son wanted heaven to look like, right? Ha.
I was heading inside and it was just laying there.
All right, so we finally see how Presley got the tablet. Here's the interesting thing. So she actually was going to game night with Billy and Jane, but she just found the tablet in the bushes, which means maybe the president like threw it over or something, or whoever and was like killed him threw it over into the bushes and it was just there. That's really interesting. It's also interesting that she has had it for a while and never brought it up to her dad. Maybe she was going to when he told her that Billy died and she was like, oh, this is getting serious. Like, let me tell him that I have it. And we find out she kept it to see what happened to her mom in Atlanta. Now let's go to that part real quick.
Why, did you find something?
There's stuff about Atlanta on here.
2 thermonuclear weapons hit there. And I found something else.
Okay, so it's confirmed that there was nuclear bombs that went off. So we don't know if that natural disaster even happened or if it was just these nukes. But also, I don't know if she found out what her mom was working on in Atlanta there. You know, we kind of had all theorized that maybe she was involved in some type of capacity or knew what was going on or something like that. Or it could have been about Billy. Maybe she found out about Billy and what he did because later on, the president's son said he knew about what happened to the people on the surface. So maybe that's what they saw.
What are you afraid of him exposing? Samantha, what did you do?
So Gabriela didn't know what happened to those people on the surface. So she's definitely in the dark on a lot of things. We'll have to see what she knows and what she doesn't know. Once again, this theme of things that look real but aren't. You know, those are just flares. They look like rockets, but they're just flares and they're harmless. So that theme continues.
Really?
See, here's the thing that's interesting about this. We find out that the leverage Sinatra had on Xavier is that she knows that his wife is alive. But she had sent Jane to find Xavier. Jane never told Sinatra that her plan was to kidnap Presley. So that's going to backfire on Sinatra because she played her leverage on Xavier. But when Xavier finds out that Presley's been kidnapped, he's not going to be listening to Sinatra anymore after that. The scene at the end makes me feel like Sinatra might be lying. And let me tell you why.
I didn't murder the president. I might have if he kept digging where he was digging, but I didn't. Billy, though, unfortunately, he left me no choice.
So here's the thing. What happened between the time that she was all frazzled enough to turn off the dome to now where she's all confident, acting like, you know, she doesn't have to be scared of Xavier? She was literally terrified the whole entire episode, and now she's all confident. If she already had this leverage of knowing that his wife is alive, why didn't she play that earlier? And why is she so confident now and not scared at all? And then also, you know, we find out here that she's saying she didn't kill the president, only Billy, and that the president, you know, him finding out about Billy actually wasn't enough to kill him, that if he would have kept digging, then it would have been a problem. So there's even more that's on that tablet that we don't know about. But yeah, her demeanor completely shifting out of nowhere is odd to me. Y'all let me know in the comments why you think that would be, because to me it's just very like it's not explainable. Like, yes, she's home, she's on her home turf, but her security ain't there. Like, she doesn't have a weapon on her. Like, she's just super confident, like she don't got to worry about Xavier all of a sudden. Maybe she does know that Jane has Presley, but even then, that would be her leverage. So why would she tell Xavier that his wife is alive? She could be like, I have your daughter. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. And one last thing while we're talking about secrets and things getting deeper and we don't know things, I want to just talk about this real quick.
I've seen that before. I saw it that night.
So we know that Jane is like working for Sinatra without anybody knowing. But it seems like the grandpa may have had somebody working for him, or maybe like a whole organization that no one knows about, not even Sinatra, and the flower is the logo for that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But yeah, my favorite episode by far. Opened up more questions, answered questions. Now we know the rabbit hole goes deeper. Man, I can't wait for episode 7, man. Until next week, I'll see y'all. Something new I'm doing is I'm answering questions and talking about theories you all bring up in the comments and making a video about it and posting it on my Patreon. So y'all can go ahead and join the Foster fam and support and become part of the community over there and get first dibs on the questions that I'll answer every single week. If you want to watch the first video I did in that series, you can check it out. The link's in the description.